Welcome back to another series of the Unheard Voice. Today we have, I hate to say it, but we have a very special player. Um, he has been, he hasn't been playing for very long, but his experience that he's gone through has been pretty amazing. But we're gonna, you know what, I'm not even gonna say that we're gonna get to know him. Most of you already know him, but it's going to be an interesting conversation. He's had a lot of experiences within his short career, but we're going to start off with the semantics. Now, I introduce you to Jai Jackson. Um, he is a defensive end outside linebacker, so he's taking my place. He's taking my positions, my reps anyway, as it is.
Listen, Michael. Listen. It's all good, man. It's all good. It's all good. Just pray for me, innit? Pray for me, and then you don't have to worry about that.
um, but what I want to know first, obviously, how long have you actually been playing?
So how long have I been playing? So I started playing technically in 2016 because it was the second semester of my first year at uni.
Ah,
But I didn't actually really play. You know the ones I showed up to practice every now and again. I think I was in one game and I think I had one kickoff play, and that was it for that whole year because of how late I joined. And then it was pretty much the following year, I picked up, started playing it. So I'd say properly playing 2016 September 2016 is probably the best timing.
huh. So wow. So what? 6 years. The guy. So
This year's remember we lost. Everyone lost the year. I think during COVID.
that is true. That is
So
very
it's
very true.
about 5 years. If we're talking about taking the actual sport seriously, I didn't take it seriously into my third year. So that's 2017.
Hold on. You didn't take it seriously till your third year.
Yeah.
So you've taken it seriously for what? 2 years. Two. Well,
Yeah, 2017. So 2017, 2018,
2019.
2019,
Then
and then
COVID. Yeah.
obviously 2020's missed, and then 2021, I guess. Yeah, 2021.
This man. This. Hold up. Wait. So okay. So All right. Cool. So you joined the game what on a fly, or who
It
brought you?
was
Who brought you into the game?
So that's an interesting one. I think people probably sick to death with this one, but there was a couple influencing factors. So if we're gonna talk from the very beginning, I actually looked at London Blitz in my gap year. So I took a gap year between A levels and going to uni. And I looked at London Blitz, and I was trying to get into American football, but then I saw the subs, and I couldn't build up the courage to ask my parents to pay that.
Fair enough.
So I was like, you know what? Let me leave it. Let me just give it a break. And then I got to university, and there's actually a guy in my course, Mo. He he's playing for Hurricanes. He was like, yeah, why don't you come on, just join the team and all sorts. He nagged me. I was like, nah, I'll be honest with you. I was all booed up at the time, so I wasn't trying to be out there in the field. I was just happy to chill. You finish your lectures, go straight back to your flat. But the second semester, he managed to get me out in the field. He's like, just bring your boots and just come out, and that was pretty much where it started. Me taking it, I mean, my uncle's always been a pusher. As soon as I said American football, he lived in America for a long period of time. So he's like, oh, you should be a wide receiver, tight end, really trying to push the big things. He's like, can you throw? I was like, Dad, and then not Dad, I was like, Uncle, take it chill, bro. I've been slapped on D line because I couldn't, I couldn't run a route for anything.
So
So yeah, that was where it started. And to be honest, like as I said, like first year I didn't really take it seriously. I mean, you being a Hearts alumni, you know about P3 sessions and all sorts. I can tell you this for free. I didn't go to a P3 session until my third year.
wait, hold up. Wait. So were P3 like everyone was allowed to go to P3?
Everyone on the team was.
That's some bullshit. All right, cool. But you know what? Yeah, fine. That's some madness because that's not how it was when it started out in it. So when it started out,
Yeah.
it was select few.
Oh,
So it wasn't.
oh,
You never just got the privilege of going to P3.
okay.
So
Now they set up into blocks as well, so they made sure everyone could go. But we kind of, I'm not gonna lie, we abused the opportunity to go P3. And looking back on it, obviously, now looking at where I am, if I had taken the actual conditioning and physical side of it, less of the on-field side of it, but like the conditioning, the strengthening side of it, seriously, back then I'd be in a much better place than I am now.
huh? Wow. So I guess Man, taking it seriously after well, in his third year.
Yeah.
And so, all right. So before American football even came, so before American football even came into your sight, into your eye line, even into your thoughts, what was you
Hmm.
doing before?
So what was I doing before? I mean, at school, I mean, everyone does it in the UK. You probably play an array of sports. I played, obviously, naturally, you start with football.
Yeah.
Played normal football for a while. Um, as I said, tell anyone, I was never really good at any like shooting sports. Basketball, I was a power forward. I never took. I think I took maybe 10 shots in the time I played at school, or for my sixth form team. Tell me if any of them went in. None of them went in.
Wow.
Um, so it was a bit sticky. It was a bit sticky, but I was the top rebounder, stripping balls like it was nothing. Yeah, I was still a dog on the field. Don't test me. But I
Okay.
played a little bit of cricket as well, squash because of my dad, um, kung fu as well because of my dad. So I was still very active. I would say I was very active as a kid and younger, and I guess I was more educationally driven. I'd say that. Like I wasn't really the type to go to take himself up and go to the gym, go for a ride. I was much more of a person that you'd see getting stuck in with his books, making sure my studies are right and studies are correct.
Ah. So you've done all of that. So what made you leave those sports and want to play something so physical like American football?
I think there was a part of it that one football, as I said, I wasn't good at it. I was a defender, and I mean, I was put as a defender because of my size in comparison to a lot of the younger kids that I was around as well. Basketball, as I said, I wasn't exactly particularly good at it. And to be honest, when I tried out for the American football team, the next team I was going to try out was for the basketball team. So it was just a case of me hitting the field and actually loving it, loving that feeling thing. And as you can imagine, like in your first year of uni, other than your people in your course, actually making friends can be quite difficult unless you're going out very readily. So the fact that it was so welcoming, I went into the field. I mean, I think Ashley Bailey, he was probably one of the first ones to speak to me. Obviously, me starting out as a wide receiver, so he taught me how to catch. Then you have KO and all sorts. He came over. Ali, obviously, Coach Smith at the time. Who else is there? You had Jack Hyde was there at the time, Lee Farmer, although I think he had broken his wrist at the time or something like that. And Johnny Ridge was actually still there at the time as well. So
Ridgy
I
boy.
had, you had a nice solid base of guys that you got to know before you started taking things seriously.
Ah, fair enough. Fair, fair. So, hmm. So what was the moment? So obviously you tried out every position. I'm guessing you didn't try out quarterback because you were just like, nah, not doing that nonsense.
No,
Okay.
no,
So you practiced route running. I guess that went
yeah,
bad.
yeah.
So what is it that made you fall in love with the defensive line position? Was it just that you get to just run forward and that's it, or was there something specific?
Do you want to be honest? Do you want me to be 100%
Be
honest?
honest.
It's because Coach Messenger came up to me and he says, "Listen, we can see that you're very fast, but," he says, "for you to learn how to become a proper wide receiver in half a term is probably not going to work out. So we're going to move you to D line so you can get at least some reps on the field." Now, me not knowing American football properly, I was just sitting down thinking, yeah, move me to D line. It's just like in basketball, you move my position around. I'm still going to be doing the exact same job. She's like, we'll move you to D line so you can get some reps, and then next year we'll try some other avenues. Tell me if you ever reached out for me to be a wide receiver again.
Oh, of
It
course
never
you
happened.
didn't. Of course
It
not.
never happened.
Of course.
First time I played officially wide receiver was when I was at Cheetahs in 2019. So that's a whole 6 years, a whole what 3 years after I was first promised the
Wow.
idea of it. So yeah, nah. But then it was just like I got moved over to there, and I've always been one that likes a challenge in it.
Yeah.
So going to it was new environments, new things I had to learn, and I can tell you straight away it was a struggle to stay on my fingers. Oh my god, getting into D line stance and staying on your fingers at first, it feels like your fingers are going to dislocate every
Yeah.
single one of them. But then it's like getting better each week, learning certain things each week. And the competition at the end of the day, when we used to go O against D, we used to really go at it. And I remember, I'm a quote him, Big Ollie, you did this to me. Yeah. I remember first year I didn't really make it past the line of scrimmage. Yeah. And I remember
Oh,
there was one time that the QB threw the ball, and I went up to bite it down. Obviously, basketball instincts that came in, and as I went up, Ollie jammed me so hard in my chest, I went flying. I licked the ground, and I almost took my boots off and just said, "Forget it." But
Oh,
obviously, I come back and I had to learn, innit? So bit by bit, I had to learn. Keith was still part of the team as well. So Keith, being someone that's from Edmonton as well and went to a county as well, we used to talk and sort of chop it up. And yeah, it was just kind of that feeling of I need to be able to beat you guys in at least one rep by the end of this year.
so wait, so Ollie was your first proper hit in football?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Ollie was the first one. The second one was on kickoff, sprinted downfield. Basically, the tackle was mine, innit? But obviously, you don't really know how to tackle. I'm come from a non-contact sport. So I've gone downfield and I've seen it. I just kind of froze and he stepped to the side. As I've stepped to the side to come and get him, someone's just licked me right here and under my ribs, winded the crap out of me. I was down for ages. Ages. I thought it was over. I thought something happened to me. And then Rachel ran over. She was like, "Nah, you just winded. It's fine." I was like, "What? Is this what you guys do to each other?" But obviously now I've obviously matured. I've appreciated that the hits are the hits and it just get up and keep running.
Wow. Wow. That. See, I told you. I told you. I told all of you look, that he had experience, and his experiences are very different to all of ours.
I'm telling
Wow.
you, man.
All right. So we've discussed that you were at Hertfordshire. You started at Hertfordshire. You looked at
Yep.
Blitz, and
Mm-hmm.
you've played at Cheetahs. Is there any other
Yep.
teams that you've played for?
So I was lucky enough to have the opportunity to go abroad and play for the Stuttgart Surge last season. That was over in Germany as a part of the ELF. Really was a big eye opener because obviously a lot of people tend to make the progressions. They might start at uni ball or junior ball, go to uni ball, then senior, and then from senior try and get onto the GB squad and then start looking abroad.
Mm.
The jump from obviously playing for Blitz, Cheetahs, Hertfordshire to then going abroad after I've never been to the GFL, I've never been to any of the lower leagues, not even GFL 2. So that's from BAFA to the highest league in Europe. Was a big jump. But I kind of took it all in my strides and I just come to appreciate that, like, you kind of feel like it's daunting because it's a new experience and such, but at the same time, you have to look at the physicality. Are these people hitting me worse than I've been hitting the UK? Honestly, no. Like, I wasn't getting hits that I'm sitting down thinking, whoa, like I need to really up my game. It was more of a case of like, all right, cool, I need to be slightly more intelligent with this. I need to not just rely on athleticism and my ability to make a play, but actually scanning the field and looking for a way to still be a part of this. So, I mean, one of the most controversial things I did in my highlight tape from that year, there's a play which looks like I've been pancaked. But if you pay attention to it, and I sent it out and I was kind of pissed off about it, I'm not gonna lie. And then someone made a thing that says, if you look, you've taken on 3 people.
Wow.
By you taking on 3 people, the play could no longer go that side. So that actually led to a tackle for loss in the end. So I was like, let me start on my highlight reel. It might look goofy as hell, but if you look at what's happening and if you understand football, you can actually realize this actually disrupted the play because it took on the pulling blocker. So I think it was a pulling guard or pulling tackle at the time.
Damn.
And as a result, the fullback couldn't punch the hole in for the running back to go in and get the TD.
Damn. So,
but yeah.
Huh.
So no, I was going to say I digressed a bit, but yeah, it was a great experience. And then pretty much since then, last summer, I came back. Obviously, I got invited to the GB tryout and did pretty well, and I managed to make it to the 100-man squad that Jason Scott had in mind. And since then, it's just been sort of up and up.
Okay, we will get onto the up and up bits in a bit. So let's not get to the up and up bits. Yeah. Let's drop a tiny bit there. Okay, so I know this is a bit of a controversial thing, but recently, all right, everyone's seen it anyway. Every single person has seen the video. It was live on YouTube. What are your thoughts on a coach pulling an injured player, trying to pull an injured player off the field with no context? That's all you see is a coach run on the field and pull a player off. What were your first thoughts at seeing that?
The maddest thing is, I haven't seen it. I was none the wiser up until I think it was like yesterday. They said it occurred. It's only when I saw the statement being put on the Baffle website, I'm like, what's going on? I'm thinking obviously that you had the controversy, which a lot of people have said is like fake about the final game,
Yeah.
for Nottingham University. So I was thinking, what's going on here? And I was explaining what had happened. I think it's obviously when put into outside of context, that should never happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not berating Jason Scott and all sorts of things. Outside of context, I'm pretty sure he would say that no coach should ever do that and whatnot. I think if you're talking now in context and from what I've heard from like people who had seen it and such, or people that are a little bit closer, I'd say that it was probably maybe a moment of or lapse in judgment.
Yeah.
Obviously you have to understand, and as he said himself, he's meant to be the pinnacle, or he's meant to represent the pinnacle of football in Britain, or in Britain, and as he said, he should carry himself in a certain way. So lapses in judgment obviously are a little bit more amplified from his perspective. And for people looking at that, they hold him to that higher standard than even you would hold yourself. I mean, if I don't know, to be honest, I'm still getting used to the rules and all sorts. But imagine if they say that there's a running clock, you're trying to get another play, and one of your players, and you perceive one of your players to just be playing the fool.
Yeah.
I.e., like the Clay Chase ball thing from last season, like you might react a certain way, but then obviously you look at the coach, and because he's got Tamworth under his belt, Nottingham University under his belt, and head coach of GB, there's just that little bit they hold him to. So if we're gonna go back to it, I think, in my opinion, it shouldn't have happened. But when we all play the sport, there's some things we've done on the field that we would never do again. Sometimes we sit down and think we question it. So I'm not gonna turn around and say that like it's a terrible thing. Oh, why would he do that and all sorts? He's owned up to his mistake, and I think that just going forward, he should obviously just do his best to represent that. And at the end of the day, that's my GB head coach. I got respect. I got to back him where I can, man.
Fair enough. Hey, I just wanted to get your views on that situation, because I know a lot of people have different types of. They have a lot of views on it. There's some people have a lot of views saying that, man, he should be stripped, he should be no longer GB coach and stuff like that. So there's a lot of different views coming from many angles. So,
Yeah, I think that comes from the question and the conversation that people keep talking about, trying to make football more professional and such. And I again, like, I'm quite empathetic, so I understand from different perspectives and what people have to say regarding those things. But in the bigger scheme of things, for you to jump to that, like, you have to understand that, one, first and foremost, you take him away from the program, we have to start all over again. And for a while, people have said like the GB program was up and down. So you now finally have some semblance of stability.
Yeah.
I think it's important to keep that. I think it's definitely something for people to call it, for him to be stripped without, again, understanding the situation. If you weren't physically there, let the things come out, let the opinions of those who come out, and then make your own judgment. But I still think he's a great coach. From what I've understood and from my practice sessions with them, it's a great opportunity for us to get a little bit better than where we have been in the standing. And obviously, if people feel like you should keep a watchful eye on them, that makes sense. That makes complete sense. But I personally wouldn't be jumping to conclusions like that.
Fair enough. So obviously you've played so now we know that you played abroad. You played for Hertfordshire, you played for Cheetahs, you played for Blitz, right?
Yeah.
What was the difference? So obviously you started out at Hearts. What was the difference from playing at Hearts to playing at Blitz?
Hearts, because you're at uni, it feels like the dream, if you understand me. Everything kind of interlocks with each other. You don't have to necessarily worry about people's personal lives because everyone's on that same level.
Yeah.
In a heart, everyone's a uni student. Everyone has something in common, and to a certain extent, other than people who have responsibilities outside of uni, like maybe work and all sorts, you could expect a decent show out because we had that culture, and you don't have necessarily, like, when it comes to game day, you pretty much had everyone there. Because again, no one had the larger life issues. Like, you have people who, I mean, we see it in Blitz. Some people may be away because of family. They may be It make it not be like something that people has not been able to find a babysitter for their kids, weddings, married, like weddings, parties, unfortunately funerals, stuff like that,
Yeah.
which come with being more of an adult. So I feel like that was like the closest thing that you get to like the professionalism at first. That was my first experience it. You came to Blitz, and again, that was like a step up in culture.
Okay.
Like you have a true brotherhood, and it didn't rely on obviously your circumstance, but it relied on your dedication to the sport. And you could really you made true friends, people that would help you improve in the game and outside of it as well.
Mm.
Cheaters was like a
Oh,
breath of fresh air. Oh,
oh, no, no, no. We're not going to cheaters yet. No.
okay,
No, we're not going to cheaters yet. No, 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 no,
okay.
no, my friend. So you went to you so you after your was it after your first year that you went straight to Blitz?
No, it was my second year. It was in the summer of my second after summer after my second year I went to Blitz,
Okay,
and
so
then I played on the next season as well.
okay, so how was your time playing at Blitz in your first stint? I mean, your first 2 years, how was it playing for one of the best teams in the country at the time? Well, still, but now, but how was it?
It was eye-opening because it was like the first time being in a situation like that where it's like it was even though I was there for a year and a half, I'd
Yeah.
already been playing for about a year and a half or so. Like it was fresh water again. It's like you're fresh again. Um, Luckily the play calls were very similar, so actually understanding the playbook wasn't as hard, but actually leveling up the physicality because you're no longer going against 18,
Teenagers.
19, 20 to 25-year-olds. You're going against grown men,
Yeah.
and grown men come with grown men strength and grown men attitude. So you got manhandled a couple of times, but it was also cool because, as you know, the pipeline of Archbishop Hurricanes goes straight into Blitz. So it was one of those things where there was a familiarity. You had Ari there, you had Joe Thomas.
Yeah.
Is it Thomas or Thompson?
Thompson. But
Thompson.
Joe Thompson, yeah.
Yeah, you had Keith, Joe, Ollie. Jeez, that was made. I think the majority of them were Hearts players at
Quite a
one
bit
point.
quite a bit of
Yeah.
Hearts players went to
So yeah,
Blitz.
it was that level up and physicality, and it was amazing because I feel like without that first year, maybe I wouldn't have come this far because it was that taste of going to the finals.
Uh,
Yeah, I didn't get much playing time in that final. Going to the finals and seeing, rod, it's not just 20, 25 people, maybe 50 people on a game day. You had, I don't even know what the total number was in the end, but you're in a state, you're in six-way stadium, loud. The game's getting. I think it was a real taste of the next step, and I think I never really got that next step up until I got abroad.
okay. So all right, so that was your first year, and obviously
Mhm.
the disappointment of the finals because obviously Blitz
Yeah.
didn't win that one. So
Mhm.
in your second year, what happened in your second year?
So second year at Blitz or second, yes, okay, my second year at Blitz. So I felt that I came in, obviously came hot off the heels of a defensive player of the year. So I was feeling real confident about myself. Got to Blitz and it was back to business as usual. It was good to see the usual faces, good to see some new faces come in. And we were playing really good football at the time. Um, Obviously, I feel like now looking back in hindsight, I didn't hold myself accountable enough
Okay.
because I could see that maybe I wasn't doing enough game tape, like film study. I could see that maybe I wasn't dedicating enough time to it. But I feel like I let the ego of coming off the heels of that kind of think that I should get more playing time and such. So I let that kind of sour myself during that period of time, and then I just kind of lost a bit of a connection. I remember telling my ex, my girlfriend at the time. Give me a second. Hello. Give me a second.
Yeah. All
But
right.
yeah, telling I remember telling my ex, who was my girlfriend at the time, and I was like, this might actually be the last year I play football. I was like, I didn't really. I felt like I might as well just go back to playing basketball casually. Obviously, there was a lot more plans in my private life, more so to progress that. So it was like, if I don't play football again at that time, is it really a big problem? No. But I came to appreciate that definitely wasn't the case for me. There was a lot more football left inside of me, and As I said, like I think again a hungry moment came when I went to the awards evening.
Okay.
Going to the awards evening, the end of season awards evening. I know I didn't win anything. I was like, I got to do better this year. I got to take this seriously. I can't just be slacking like I am at the moment. So I just did what I could, didn't it?
Okay.
I just started applying myself. Unfortunately, I injured myself at work at that point. So again, it was just that delay, and it's that questioning: should I go? Should I keep going? Should I keep going? And then eventually, I changed over to Cheaters because again, more Hearts boys over there begging for me to come over.
Okay. So you jumped into the next question very, very quickly there.
Yeah.
So
Let me just clarify before this. I said the term begging was incorrect. It's more of like a friendship thing. Like, you know, when your dogs are like, just calm as the friends. We can have that thing. Obviously, they came hot if there was of a championship as well. So they're like, we just need to just calm. You have a championship in the bag. They sweet talk to me, man.
okay.
I'll be honest.
Fair. All right. Seeing as you've gone into the next question anyway, so now we know that you left Blitz and went to Hartford Cheaters.
Yeah.
You said that it was your friends that were begging you to come and just join and play with them. I'm gonna use the first words that you. No. I'm gonna use the first words that you used.
Sweet talking. Disclaimer.
Sweet talking. You used begging first. That was the first word that came to your mouth. But all right, sweet talking.
No, let me just say one thing. Yeah. I'll be real with you. Like, as I said, that my pride was hurt. I was sitting on the bench, man. I was sitting on the bench, and for a majority of the season, I felt like I couldn't do nothing. And then they're like, you could come and you can actually play. So I was like, this is like, it means a lot, especially for us in amateur sport at the moment, because we don't get paid for this. We pay to play. And I was just like, if I'm going to ever take this seriously and try and go abroad, even to Europe, I have to get playing time. Otherwise, it just looks horrendous on my behalf.
Okay. So all right. So let me just sort of summarize that whole situation, why you left Blitz. You left Blitz because you felt that because you got Defensive Player of the Year. You got Defensive Player of the Year, and the next year you came back, you weren't really getting as much game time as you was expecting. So you left and went to Cheaters to obviously get game time, gain more experience, and just trying to learn a lot more as you play.
Yeah.
Did I get that correct?
That's the perfect summary.
Okay. So there was like no arguments with anyone. Like it was just the playing, not getting enough play time and everything like that.
Yeah, it was solely based around that. There was no there was no sort of verbals that I had with anyone. There was not one person that rubbed me up the wrong way. Otherwise, you wouldn't see me back at Blitz now. Like, it was just a case of I needed more playing time, and I guess I was a little bit too immature at the time to realize that there's a process to it for me to get to where I need to be. I think I was trying to look for like the easiest way I could get to my goals, and that was, again, as I said, immature. Okay,
fair enough. So, what was your time playing at the Cheaters like? With that I believe it was the 1 year. What was it like from Blitz to Cheaters? How was the culture different? How was the games different? Like, was the coaching style different from what you were used to at Blitz? Were the teams that you're playing against, like, were they up to the level that you was expecting? How was that transition from one team to the other?
Okay, so I'd say one of the first things that really kept me is that we had a D-line coach again. So in my first year at Blitz, we had a D-line coach, and then he stepped away. And then Duncan was also playing like the D-line coach, but also having to do the rest of the coordinator stuff. So it relied on us sort of teaching ourselves, or like the leaders like Jamie Charles and DJ taking over and just basically helping us. But having like obviously a coach there that was there to dedicate, and he then shout out to LT, like he was the most dedicated, one of the most dedicated coaches I've had. Someone who played as an edge rusher as well, who could turn around and tell you, all right, this is what I used to do. Some of the techniques obviously is from back in the day, but it's something. It's like when you have nothing, it is something.
Yeah,
it's something that you can build upon. So it was that like he implemented a little bit of a conditioning circuit that you had to do every start of every game, not start of every game, start of every practice. So we would go through, we do ladder work, we do like sort of press up work, crunches. It's again old school conditioning, but it was an improvement onto what I think. And for someone that wasn't really driven to go to the gym initially, it really did help me sort of get into that sort of conditioning mindset. Now, if we're talking about the culture was pretty cool because the time when I joined Cheetahs, you had pretty much all the guys that I played through at uni was there. You had Matt came back out of retirement, so Matt Smith. You had Jordan Legg was there. You had me, KO, Ali, Joe came over there.
Wow.
Keith came over to play. You had H, who was a running back that we played with. We had, I think Axel was playing for us for a little while as well. So we had, it was basically just like a little reunion, a little Hearts reunion for us, and it was cool. Like the culture was really, it was a stark difference. I'll say, as you can imagine, Hearts being outside London, like the type, like brothers. Like when I say brothers, I'm talking about brothers, innit? There was more brothers at London Blitz. So as you can imagine, there's different sort of similarities and different ways you can relate to each other. So again, it was just like it wasn't. I wouldn't say either was better. It was just different experiences, and it was nice to get that refreshment. And maybe it might help boost my confidence back up in playing, to see that, all right, cool, maybe I'm not that bad. I do deserve playing time. And as I said, like looking back on it, I can see that even my decision my thought process back then wasn't even justified. It was just a thing, but it's the way that you deal with things, isn't it? Yeah. So it did help. And it was nice to have, like, as I said, like it was just a breath of fresh air, and to be away from the Finsbury Park field, because I think at the time when I played first time, it was is when they still used to use sand in it.
Yeah.
And you know them summer days when you come back, you cut up and you jump in the shower and you got burning all over that you didn't even know was there, and the sand's all in your wounds and that. Yeah, that used to hurt, man.
Oh, you know what?
Thank God they stopped using the sand on it, though. I'm not gonna lie.
That's true. That is true. That's actually kind of funny when you say that. All right, so all right, this one might be a bit touchy, but I'm still gonna ask it anyway because I like a bit of controversy. So I heard that during the time before the COVID season had hit and everything like that, there was a bit of controversy and trouble at the Hertfordshire Cheetahs during the period. So I heard that there was a bit of drama between the players and a particular coach. I don't know who the coach's name, but I heard that there was a bit of trouble. Like there was some comments that a coach had made and didn't sit well with players. Is there any of that rumors true, or was that just something that someone fabricated?
So like my mum always says, there's always some, like, wherever there's smoke, there's always some fire. And while I feel like obviously a little bit of Chinese whispers ended up going along, because it wasn't a coach, it was a player.
Oh.
It was a player that did it, and basically, yeah, I'll confirm it. I'll say it outright, and this is definitely the climate where we don't need to sort of skip around that. There was racial comments made about certain things that were going on in the world in that time, and it was with regards to obviously the George Floyd murder that had occurred, and it was a very, very what's the word? What's the word I want to look for? It was a very the comments that were made up regarding it were insightful, negatively insightful. It was trying to incite certain sort of violence towards people, and very insensitive towards the situation as it stood. It kind of removed all responsibility of the police officer in that situation, and tried to blame
the person that died.
Which was definitely, it showed a lot of who he was, and it was frustrating for us, because these are people that you play alongside. Now everyone knows in American football, you treat these guys almost like family to a certain extent, and to have someone playing alongside you but having those views is kind of sickening, to say the least. And for me, especially at that time, who I'd recently been promoted to captain, I reached out and I said to the coaches, I said, listen, something needs to be done about this. Now, yes, maybe the rules about the club and all sorts, because it was made in a private, however you want to justify it, because it was made in a private server or private or on a private account. Technically, we can't remove him from the team. But I said, listen, I'm not going to force you to do anything or make you feel bad. And I think the way that they responded was, obviously they're just trying to mitigate whatever damage. But
Yeah.
I said, if he's a part of the team when we start playing again, I'm not going to be. And I said I'm not going to be, and quite a few of the other players of color, black players as well,
Yes.
said that they wouldn't be as well, because you can't play alongside him. I can't do it. And even on his departure, there was a lot of cheeky snide comments that were made about how he'd still show up to games and all sorts, and he doesn't think it's the last time he'll be playing.
Oh.
And to the point where he even showed up to a game last season.
Oh.
It was the end of last season, and I was very testy, and I just kind of looked over at people and they just said, just ignore him. I was like, cool. I just kept my distance.
That's what would I say? That's a brave person, even though you don't. Wow. Okay. Thanks
So,
for.
like, at the end of the day, like, as the way I look at it is that he got served his just desserts, and hopefully he can not only mature but open up his mind to the wider world and realize through the error of his ways. But as I said, it's not my job in the world to correct him. I can show him the way, but it wasn't my job to correct him. And hopefully he kind of regrets what he's done, because now a whole part of his life is no longer there.
Yeah, and football's a lot to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Since
You don't run into people without having a reason behind it.
Yeah, and
You put your body through so much, it must mean something.
exactly, and I know for a fact I didn't play the COVID season, and I know for you as well. I know for a lot of people that haven't played, football is a key aspect to everyone's like social life.
Yeah,
So
a
yeah,
big part.
so yeah, yeah, okay, wow. Thanks for
Mm.
clearing that little thing up, because I just wanted to get that one out of the way and done with, just so we.
Nah, it's one of those things that definitely need to be. I don't think it was, other than like memes and like conversational. It was never really brought up, and I said I admired the way that and the swiftness under which they dealt with it, because within, I think it was 2 days, it was sorted out,
Fair enough.
and he was gone. But again, as I said, like, it's just one of those things that you didn't expect to see, especially during a moment where you're trying to sort of push for that next championship, or win, or to win, basically.
Yeah, you have all of this nonsense going on. My
Yeah.
God. Um. So, all right. So the comparing the differences between Blitz, Hearts, and Cheetahs. We're not going to talk about Stuttgart just yet.
Yeah.
Did you see a massive difference within all three organizations, or do you think that they're all sort of similar?
I think the difference between Hurricanes and the other two, that definitely mirrors what you tend to see between Brit Ball and Senior Ball, quite simply. I felt like Senior Ball was faster,
Yeah.
but Brit Ball was like Brit Ball, so Senior Ball. Sorry, I felt like
Uniball.
Uni Ball was faster, Senior Ball was more physical,
Ah.
slightly more intelligent.
Okay.
A play of the sport. Between Blitz and Cheetah, obviously there's a step down of the division, but the guys I was going up against were aggressive, were aggressive players. So I felt, while yes, some opposition, and I would say it with chest. Like, I went like our first away game at Berkshire Renegades was just head scratching. And when I was told that at the time they didn't even video games or practice, I was like, this is an interesting decision for a team to make.
Wait. They what?
They didn't video. I was told that they didn't video games or practice.
Ah,
They don't.
well, not a lot of teams have that facility to do that, so
A
it is kind of
GoPro?
difficult.
A GoPro?
Look, I'm trying to make up excuses for some teams, isn't it? But yeah. To be fair,
I'm
you
just saying,
know
like,
what?
every team at least I've seen other than them has at least a GoPro, man. Like, you have to have something,
Yeah.
because how do you expect to improve as a player? And I feel like it is essential. As as Shannon Crowder said, it is essential. Yeah. You need to have game tape. If I can't look at how I played, what I'm going to do, rely on the coach remembering off the top of his head how well I did for what could amount at, sometimes you even saw it in our recent game, to 100 snaps of defensive football
Yeah. Yeah.
of one player, and he's got to think about all the other players and think that can't work, can't run. You're putting yourself at a disadvantage, and I'll say that things may have changed, and this is not to slander the Berkshire Renegades, because I think any team has a chance to push themselves up and better themselves. But I think that definitely, if you're trying to improve Britball as a whole, we got to set standards in certain aspects, and that's why I liked the fact that after the COVID season, you saw a set of rules that stated if you can't reach these, you will no longer have a team. And while it's harsh, and while it's I guess it's not as progressive in the sense of getting people to just come and enjoy the sport, it also means that the game can become more competitive. Because people, if you want to play, and if you want to have a team, you have to have a good show up. You have to have good practice, and that improves the not. I don't like to use it, but the product that you see on the field, hands down.
Hey, that's true. That is very, very true. Can't argue with that one bit. Huh. So, all right, I'm gonna jump back to Cheetahs real quickly. So, with that year at Cheetahs, how close were Cheetahs to getting promoted to the Prem, or were they off by a mile?
We weren't off because we were flying around the field. We were playing really good football at that time, and even looking back on it, I'm trying to look back on it. I'm trying to remember the games. Like, our games were never a case. We were never completely blown out of the water. I could be gassing right now. You could go back and check the scoreboards, and we could have been blown out maybe 1 or 2 games. But I think our offense, as you can imagine, is something that happens in Britball a lot. Offense sometimes take a while to build up, and it's strange because I feel like our offense always picked up in the third and fourth quarters. So we'd start scoring and such, but it's that crucial moment where can the defense hold off long enough for our offense to now catch up, and sometimes that would come and bite us back. And it's nice to see after that, even though we had the COVID season and obviously some players didn't play, going through the COVID season, seeing how well they did. Because as I said, I was away up until I think the last 4 games.
Okay.
And then coming back and finding out that we obviously by the end of the season, finding out I think we went 9-1.
Wow.
Or something like that. So we completely blasted out the water and won the Thames Valley Conference, which was great. And it just shows that the Cheetahs have a very, very strong and bright future going forward. I would say, especially with, they always had a good base, but now having Don McIntyre, who's now the head coach, he's made a lot of changes in the culture and in the mindset of the team. So it's something new, something fresh, and it seems to be working really well. So I do wish them the utmost best where it's come.
Wow. Okay. Didn't know that they went 9-1. They done bits, so I'm hoping to see good things from the Cheetahs this season.
Yeah,
that's for sure. Okay. Right. So you played in Europe for Stuttgart Surge.
Yep.
What was the difference from? I know you said that you didn't get a hit as hard, but there's obviously differences between the UK game to the Germany game in Germany.
Yeah.
What were the differences that you instantly saw?
So imagine if you take a pool of the most athletic guys in the UK.
Yes.
And you're putting them on the team. That's how it felt. Like, the guys were more athletic than your everyday. Because you'd have standout athletes depending on what team you're in. Like the Prem guys, you might see a larger ratio of it. In lower divisions, you might see a lower ratio of it. But in the bigger scheme of things, you'd have basically guys that are at the top of their game playing. So you had to sort of match that energy. And I feel like, for me as a player, one of the things I always used to struggle with is I tend to play down, or I play to the level that I'm playing. And it's something that I wanted to work on, and going out there and saying, all right, cool, now I have people that are challenging me further as well, pushing me further. I was like, I need to do better. So you can even see, like, if you look at like the tape that I put out there, I was moving a lot better. I was reading the game a lot more, and I was being able to do things that I never would do before. So even jumping back into coverage, we had a blitz call. So a blitz pill call. So that basically means I have to run with the running back all the way through. It's simple coverage, but something that I'd never done really before until I got over there. And then being in that situation, seeing I'm able to do it, that definitely helped improve my mindset and how I see the sport and how I see myself progressing. I think other parts of it is obviously the fact that it's now profession.
Yes.
At that point, I mean, there's no way I'm going to sit down and say, yeah, I've got a retirement plan from this coming. But at the same time, it was a profession, and it's something that I had to appreciate. That no one's going to send you a message say, oh, you come into training, say you had to be at training, otherwise you got fined. Unless you had a valid reason from a physio, and even then, you had to come and watch, support the team.
Yeah.
What else is there? You had to be punctual. You had to make sure that you had everything in check. There were certain rules that you had over there that was never going to happen that wouldn't happen in Baffa. For instance, cleats were set. Like all your extra equipment, your accessory equipment, had to have either the team colors or black and white, just like the NFL.
Oh,
simple as.
Oh,
no arguments, no questions.
I kind of like that rule. I kind of like that rule.
It was, and the whole team would have to be in a similar color, in the same color, so it would create a uniformity across the board.
Keep that professional vibe at the same time.
Almost definitely.
Okay. So all right. So this one's actually interesting because I haven't really interviewed someone that's actually played in Germany itself.
Mm-hmm.
How was the crowds playing in front of a stadium full of people? How was your first game with that intensity? Because I'm definitely sure that shit was intense as hell.
Oh yeah, it was one of those things where it becomes a surreal moment, because obviously you get into the facility ages before the game starts. Like, you're there from like 10. The game don't start till 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah. So you get there early, or they say that you can start arriving by 10. Most people arrive by 11, 12 latest. So you get there early, get the conversations that you need to get done. You put on half your equipment, go out, do the walk around. So the defense walk around one side, the offense walk around the other side, and we come back, start seeing fans filter in. But it's only once you finish your individual warm-ups, the private warm-ups, and then you get to a point and it's like, all right, cool, we're gonna go out there and we're gonna do our team warm-ups. And you get out there and you see the fans, and there's tons of them, you can't even count that. And you get little chairs and little conversations happening. They get to see you warm up, then you go back in, and then you do the tunnel, basically the walk out of the tunnel. And you get out and you hear the roar of the crowd, and you hear the speaker, because it's all on announcers as well. They shout, you can hear it. You get even like a jumbotron, which is true for some. I don't think all the teams had it, but some of the places did. We got all the tailgate and stuff. Like we used to train, like, so we used to do like our indie warm-ups on like a field just behind the stadium.
Yeah.
But you could see this fans going up, and they'd come in and they'd just be watching, they'd be sitting there, and by the end they might come with a towel that they want you to sign and all sorts. It was crazy. People knew you, like you didn't know. It was crazy as well. But you get out there, I think by the third game that we had at home, and one of the guys tapped me and he says, "Look at my helmet on the floor." And you can see from the fans shouting, you can see it shaking. And I was like, this is what we play this sport for, isn't it? I mean, we play to win, we play to do better, but like to actually get that appreciation, obviously coming from a place where the biggest event other than a Brit Bowl, what would be like a Blitz home game or explosion event.
Yeah.
A Blitz doubleheader or an explosion event.
I'd probably say an explosion event's probably bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Because you've got the whole uni team there, you got the whole uni there, you got people that come down to watch it.
Yeah,
I think Explosion's probably the biggest event that happens in the UK for American football.
I'd say, be honest. I'd agree, but the only thing about Explosion is that the fans that are there to watch aren't for us.
No, they're not.
They're not for us. So I can't say that they ain't my fans, but to see obviously that amount of fans come out was also pretty dope. So yeah, no, it was amazing. And then you have your away games, and you see the away games and how they are. Just give me a second. But yeah, you see the away games, and then you see that their fans are the same, and it's just like it's at a level of professionalism you didn't really appreciate. And then it's like even my friends will send me like they would like I get away from the game, look at my phone, I've got people tagging me in posts because my friends paid to watch the Surge the whole season,
Yeah.
and they see me on the field, and then the announcers and all sorts. Okay, getting your name getting called up. You're on YouTube, which is not a massive bit, but you can see yourself and also doing your best. And it's like
It's a real moment, yeah.
this ain't the end of it, but this ain't the end of the journey. But this is a nice stopping point to just stop and appreciate yourself.
Huh. So, all right. So, how many signatures did you write when you were out there? Then, how many
I think by the
autographs?
end, I only did about one or two. As you know, there was a little bit of controversy. Like I'll be honest with you. I think I didn't get as much playing time as I thought. And there's opinions I have on it. Would I be sharing these opinions? Not particularly, because the
Okay.
way I look at it is that I'm not going to try and dwell on that. Like I still appreciate the Surge as a team, because without them, I wouldn't have been able to have come as far as I have so far. I'm not going to obviously put all my dedication and hard work to the side to say that they did it, but they were another stepping block and helped me get further in this game of football that we all love. There's at the time there was a few grievances about what was going on, how certain things were treated where it came to treatment and such, but in the bigger scheme of things, I just look at it as they probably had their own teething issues. They were trying to figure out quite a lot of things themselves.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, sometimes people fall through the cracks in that situation. But it was great. It was great to be out there. I built some really good friends that I still have over there. Some really good connections with coaches, and I have nothing but the best to say about those coaches as well. As well as I wish them the best in the season ahead. And depending on where I land going forward, I mean, I might be playing against them very
Okay.
soon. So that'll be an interesting game to watch.
Ah. Okay. All right. All right. All right. All right.